Hi, this is Jack Stanley, and I wanted to talk just for a short moment on some of the changes on records that were done in the early days of the Red Seal record in the United States. Of course, the 5000 series of recordings came out in late March of 1903, and they all came from HMV, or gramophone and typewriter, I should say, masters, or in some cases they were copied from stampers onto wax, and copies were made. And it's kind of an interesting thing that when Calvin Child went there, of course, he came back with a whole bunch of recordings. In fact, he came with the first 50 stampers. And this recording I want to talk about was one of that batch. Now, it's interesting to note how it originally looked. Now, here we are. Show this to you. It is Ave Maria, sung by Christman and her husband. I think it's J.J. Christman, and recorded in St. Petersburg. And it's a gramophone and typewriter recording. Now, it's interesting to note that after copies were made of it, that here is what we get. We have Ave Maria by Madame Christman with a violin obbligato by we don't know whom. Doesn't say where it was recorded. Also, another interesting thing, this is one of the 5000 series. It was originally 5044. And if you look at the label here, you'll see the prohibitive notices on the top, and you'll see limited at the end on the top, and you'll see it spelled out. That's the way it was done for the 5000 series. However, once you got to the 91,000 series, it was changed over to an abbreviation. And you'll notice here it's spelled out. This is a transition label. This is right at the changeover from the 5000 to 91,000 series. But it's just kind of interesting to see how the spelling changes, how it was kind of Americanized in a sense. And, well, actually the translation of Christ is Christ. So, I mean, it's not that far off, but it is a little unique because I'm sure Madame Christman liked her name Christman rather than Christman. But in the United States, as long as this record was published until 1906 or so, maybe 1907, it remained the same. Just an interesting little thing that changed, as they made their copies. And a lot of names had little changes and were Americanized to a degree to cut down on confusion, perhaps. That was all set up by Calvin Child as he went over on the Oceanic to work out that whole deal, which became remarkable for the Victor Company because that was the first Red Seal records in the United States. Sort of. Because the Columbia Graphophone, or Columbia Phonograph Company, also had its opera series with a red label, and that led to a whole bunch of issues as well. And I've talked about that before, but the Red Seal for Victor got its start from that whole series, and it's interesting how things change. The information on the records is different, and you'll see that quite a bit. So take a look if you get a chance, and if you do have recordings of a famous piece, perhaps, on Victor, see if you happen to have it on gramophone typewriter or HMV, and see if it's identical. More often than not, it isn't. So, just a little talk on this. Thank you.